social connection actually improves our health. They say that the social connection increases our survival odds by as much as 50%. It's twice as influential as obesity and even more influential than not exercising. So if we really want to be healthy and embrace our aging and be our best selves for as long as we possibly can, our social connections are a really important part of that.
Welcome to Retirement Revealed. I'm your host, Jeremy Keil, and we're here to turn your retirement savings into retirement income. Today, we have Susan Hogan helping us live an inspired retirement. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
You got it. And I was introduced to you through the book, The Retirement Collective, which is shared wisdom from top retirement coaches. And you must be near the top of the top because your chapter was first. And I think a lot of it has to do with how great you are, but the subject was interesting. It was unexpected, but it makes so much sense. It says, make friends like your life depends on it. So tell me a little bit about why friends are so important heading into retirement.
Oh, goodness. So retirement is such a big transition. People plan for it by really focusing on their bank account, focusing on the bank balance, which of course is absolutely foremost a very important thing to be doing. But when it comes down to it, the transition itself is so much more of an emotional one. We've been doing things one way our entire life, and then when we retire, so often it's a drop off the cliff, and it can be such a shock to the system that people find themselves lost and floundering. And as many are prone to say, running out of money pales in comparison to running out of health, family, and friends, and time. So hence the retirement coaching aspect of it. It's really important to help people think ahead and make a bit of a plan for what are they going to be doing for that retirement transition? What's life going to look like on the other side? And even better if we can navigate the transition so that it happens more slowly. So we often talk about managing our health and making sure that we're, in shape, and, aging will get you. It's going to get you one way or the other. And taking care of your health is one way to really help to minimize the changes that happen through aging. And of course, that's important. So too is finding your purpose. And what are you going to do? How are you going to spend your time? But one thing that people really don't give a whole lot of thought to are the friendships. And studies have shown that the social connections are actually one of the most important things to maintaining happiness and even health and longevity as you age. And it's something that people don't give a lot of thought to. And so that's why I thought maybe I'd write a chapter, grab some attention by saying, hey, your life depends on it. Mm-hmm. Because in a way, it really kind of does.
Yeah, it's amazing too. You mentioned purpose. A lot of people are thinking of purpose now. I hit retirement. I need to make sure I find my purpose or live purpose fully. And here we're talking about not having friends or that sounds maybe harsh, but being more socially isolated. It might become like a bad cycle where if you don't have the purpose, then you might have less reason to go be out there socially, hanging out with other people. And of course, maybe hanging out with other people might help you live out your purpose. It seems like a lot of times when we're talking about purpose, it's not necessarily let me sit around by myself doing something only by myself. It's more let me connect with a lot of others. So the not connecting with others might be a sign that you haven't found your purpose yet, or it might be, boy, I need to go connect with others, and that's going to help me become more purposeful.
Absolutely. I mean, they are completely different subjects of conversation, and we can talk for days about your health and why it's important. We can talk about your purpose and finding meaning in your life and how it's going to help you get a reason to jump out of bed in the morning and feel fulfilled and accomplished at the end of the day. And we can talk about your friendships. But really, when things are running well, all are interconnected, and you've got friendships that encourage and support your health. We've got friendships that support and engage in your passions and your purpose. And we've got friendships that are there for you, whether you're up or down, and it doesn't matter. So once you've got it all running really well, all three of those are really very interconnected, and they are, they don't live in silos. All of our life is very much integrated. So, I shine a light on it and bring attention to it in the hopes that it'll make people think about it for a little bit longer. And loneliness really is an issue as you head into retirement. And the WHO, as I mentioned in the book, recently called it a loneliness epidemic. Shocking numbers of people are finding themselves lonely. And you don't realize it until you get there. But as you age, it's the natural course of events. Everyone around you is going to be aging as well. And some people will become sick, and some people will become more isolated, and some people will become more antisocial. And gradually, one by one, people move away, and you find your social circle shrinking ever so slowly. And if you're not putting some thought into it and some action into it and engaging and putting in just even a little bit of effort to reach out and talk to new people and make new friends and make new acquaintances, your social circle is going to be shrinking, and you will also be at great risk of finding yourself lonely.
Yeah, it's something you wrote in the book is that you might think when you leave work you'll miss the paycheck, but mostly you miss the friends. And it's like you're planning for the time when you won't have the paycheck from work, but you probably haven't planned for the time when you're going to be missing your friends. And it's even more important, probably. I was thinking, as soon as I read that sentence, a thought popped into my head that, hey, you're planning for retirement, you're saving into your 401k, but there's no friendo 1k that you can save into for later. This is an
I like that. There
ongoing
should be.
thing. You can't just like bank friend days and then take them out later. You've got to make a concerted effort going into retirement and then through retirement. So how can we go ahead and make sure that we're not experiencing this loneliness, that we are planning ahead and making sure that we've got the social connections that we need in retirement?
There's so many different things that we can do. And the first and foremost is being conscious of it and really being aware. One of the things that we do as retirement coaches is encourage people to write down their friends list. What friends do I even have to start with? Who are friends that I used to know and maybe kind of fell off. We moved away or lost touch or got busy with kids and work and family. Maybe those are people we should reach out to again. We look at the groups of friends and say, okay, I have a really good group of friends that supports me in one endeavor, like say perhaps in the church or in the spiritual concept, or perhaps that I meet at the gym or for my physical activity. But then what are the other areas of your life that might be missing a little bit? And so we want to look into growing them in that way. I mean, we all know the different levels of friendship. We've got strangers on the outer circle, moving to acquaintances, and then we draw into friends, and then closer friends, and our besties and closest confidants in the center. And it's really important to be engaging with people on all of those levels. On the outer levels, just even chatting up a conversation with a stranger, making acquaintances, and putting out those feelers to engage with friends. Build some familiarity, build some extra relationships. It doesn't happen quickly. So it's really important that we stay on top of it, and just even a little bit every day, whether it's a compliment to someone at the grocery store. That little thing can make a huge difference. I was laughing because a friend of mine yesterday said it was the funniest thing. I was at the grocery store and a woman came up to me. She said, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but I just want to tell you, you have great legs. And I can tell you the smile on her face that went from ear to ear, and I'm pretty sure she's still wearing it today.
I bet.
A compliment is this tiniest thing, and you're smiling too. You can recognize a compliment goes a long way, and it helps to fill our bucket. And every little social interaction can help to make us feel good about ourselves. And that's why so much of the research is pointing to the fact that social connection makes us happier, makes us feel more fulfilled, and actually improves our health. They say that the social connection increases our survival odds by as much as 50%.
Oh my goodness.
It's comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day or
Mm-hmm.
being an alcoholic. It's
Mm.
twice as influential as obesity and even more influential than not exercising. So if we really want to be healthy and embrace our aging and be our best selves for as long as we possibly can, our social connections are a really important part of that. And so making that little effort, whether it's to strangers at the grocery store or picking up the phone or sending a text message to that long lost friend who, you know what, I don't know where he or she wound up, just picking up the phone, picking up and, making a phone call or texting saying, hey, I was thinking about you. How are you doing? Those little things can go a long way. And exercise, just like physical fitness, social
Mm-hmm.
fitness is a muscle that needs regular training. And so it's important that we stay conscious of it and practice with the strangers, practice with our friends and family, and really hone those skills so that it's something that we can continue to do to continue to build our friendship circles as we get older.
Yeah, you're right on. We focus a lot on the physical fitness, the financial fitness, perhaps even the mental fitness, but the social fitness. And the social fitness might help with the mental and the physical type of fitness as well too.
Absolutely.
My general advice when you retire is go for a walk outside with a friend. I think it's like you're hitting everything, right? You're exercising, you're in nature, you've got a friend. That's a helpful thing overall. And if you're having trouble
Absolutely.
thinking of it, I was just thinking through myself, like, how do my kids make friends? And it's a lot just the proximity and activities, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
kid that's next to you in class became your friend, or you're both in the same group, uh, makes you friend. And it makes you want to do those things more. If you have friends and people you look forward to, my daughter just started swimming again, and she was unsure of it. But the first practice, she came back. She said, "I think I made a friend." And I said, "Well, what's her name?" And Harper says, "Well, I don't know. We're not friends yet. I haven't asked her yet." And so then the next day, she was looking forward to practice. She came back. She said, "Oh, I asked her to be my friend, and she said yes, and her name is this." So she was all excited. And it's because she was in activity, and it was the girl that was swimming the same language there. So it's activities
That's
and
right.
proximity. So if you want to go out and volunteer, play pickleball, go to church, you're going to find people that are nearby that are interested in the same things as you, and you might have a built-in friend there.
Exactly. And we can all take inspiration, I think, from Harper.
Yes.
It's not that complicated.
Yep.
It's really not.
Mm-hmm.
You go to somewhere that you find interesting. You're going to find people who have common interests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my father, when he came back, he did a cruise to the to South America and around the
Mm-hmm.
tip of South America. He went to the Antarctic,
Nice.
and he comes back and he says, I met some of the most amazing people on that cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And I laughed at him. I said, well, of course, boring people don't take cruises to Antarctica.
Right.
So
Yep.
if you want to find interesting people, then it's important to do interesting things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you've got some other ideas too. You mentioned the book, and I think we can share it here too, that you've got the Evergreen Friendship Engine. And so I'll put a link to that if you go to your website, and you've got the Evergreen Friendship Engine on ways to focus on these social connections. Can you share a little bit about what ideas or advice we might be getting there?
Yeah. So the Evergreen Friendship Engine is kind of a way to condense it all down into something that's a little bit easier to understand, while also as a source of mini challenges to go out on a regular basis and offer a compliment or start a conversation. People get taken off guard when you can relate to their situation, whether it's the cashier who's having a crappy day and, someone just recognizes, hey, I understand. Good on you for, saving face around that difficult customer. When people feel seen and heard, um, it fills their bucket. And the Evergreen Social Engine is really about the social fitness. It's about flexing those social muscles and giving it practice so that you're at any given time able to reach out to strangers who can then become acquaintances and offer ties that are appropriate to each level of possible friendships. Because of course, if you say, hey, to an acquaintance, hey, let's go on a cruise to Antarctica, that acquaintance is going to think that you're crazy and a creep, and they're going to run away. So
Mm-hmm.
the social friendship engine is about small steps that are easy and appropriate to the stage of the friendship. And
Mm-hmm.
it's when you know what is the span of friendships that you've got, you know the lay of the land, you know who you've got and what you might be lacking in, and which stage of the circle that people are at, then you can learn and offer olive branches, offer friendship to people at the right
Mm-hmm.
stage where they're going to be most receptive.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to I was with my wife actually, and we were talking to someone we knew. She was talking about how great it is to play pickleball, and somehow it got brought up. But well, you know what? Not sure who we know that's there or not. And the lady said, "Well, you're only a stranger the first time, right?
That's
The
right.
second time, you're not a stranger anymore." So it's a great advice that she gave. Well, you're in the retirement coaching business now, but you tell us what did you do beforehand?
What did I do beforehand? Oh goodness, all sorts of things. I have an undergraduate degree in genetics,
Hmm.
and a master's in business. So when I first started as a youngster out into the world, I was working for a vaccines company, where working with the full gamut of commercial operations, everything from finance to business analysis and research, marketing, sales, customer service. Um, I've worked through a whole bunch of those different things. Had three gorgeous daughters who are now slowly growing up before my eyes. And I've spent a fair bit of my time at home raising them, with small excursions out in one different um, opportunity or another, from selling mobility equipment, wheelchairs, ramps, rollators, and that kind of thing, to working with the local chamber of commerce, to sales for animal health products. So I like to say that I've actually been through a number of different retirements myself,
I suppose.
um, and and each time it really does take some introspection. And I think the first time I was downsized from my vaccines company at a time when they had grown a little bit too big, and I was on mat leave anyway, so it's, I guess, an easy one to let go of. It feels like a punch in the gut. Even when you know that retirement's coming, or in my case, I didn't, but it can really feel like a punch in the gut for a day or longer. But at the end of it, when you recognize that things are better because you're in control of your destiny, and when you can recognize that change is hard for everybody, but when you are in the driver's seat and choosing where you're going to navigate that change, it's going to work out for the better. So it's really important throughout the stages of retirement. Don't allow yourself to be the victim. Don't give up on life. Don't,
Mm-hmm.
give up on your friends, give up on wanting to have these things that you used to have at work. A lot of people struggle with a loss of status when they retire, particularly people who might have been successful CEOs
Mm-hmm.
or owners of small business, where business was their life. It was everything that they did. For those people, retirement can be really, really hard because they lose not only the work aspect, but they lose the social aspect. They lose the status aspect. And without having had other activities to give them fulfillment, there really is a blank slate in front of them. And if you don't see yourself as author of your own destiny, the world can pile up on top of you. And so that's where I really like to work with my clients and say, hey, let's look at the things that you're losing, which often people don't see. They will say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
look at all the time that I'm gaining. Look at the freedom I'm gaining now that I don't have to go to work, which is absolutely one of the most amazing parts of retirement. But if you don't find a way to replace the cognitive stimulation and the
Mm-hmm.
status, the structure that you used to have, the accountability, the having people expecting you to show up, being needed somewhere, those are all things that you need to replace in retirement. And so when retirement's in front of you and you aren't sure of where those are going to be, know that you're in the driver's seat, and that's where a retirement coach can really help you figure out what might that look like and where should I start.
Yeah. It's interesting too. I'm just while you're talking, I'm thinking, especially because you mentioned about raising your kids. I'm thinking of my wife Robin, where she was working and became a stay-at-home mom, which seems like a drop in status. That's the way the world kind of treats her. Where she would be volunteering at school, and it's like if you didn't have, she would come home and say, it's like if you don't have a title, your ideas don't matter, right? And so I'm wondering too, this your experience. I've met a few retirement coaches. I feel as if the retirement coaches tilt towards the female uh, gender, and I wonder if it's because you've had this experience of this up and down in status throughout life, and these transformations of different things. You know, I'm a student, then I'm a worker, then I'm a wife, then I'm a mom. Like you've maybe had some successful transformations that honestly us guys probably haven't figured it out yet. Tell me, where am I on the right track? I think I've got some thoughts
I
here
think
that this.
I've made the same observation myself,
Okay, all right.
particularly in mat leave, and yeah, my biggest accomplishment was emptying the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sure.
it can be a struggle because you do need to recreate your identity.
Yeah.
Um, I guess my maiden name is Burke, and when I got married, I couldn't drop Burke. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Susan Burke Hogan, and if you find me on
Sure.
LinkedIn, I'm still Susan Burke Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only been just the last maybe 10 years when I'm now comfortable with the fact that I'm now Susan Hogan.
Sure.
I am Mrs. Hogan, the
Mm-hmm.
mother of my 3 children and wife to my husband. But it's taken 30 years
Sure.
for me to get to that point. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, transitions are hard, and
Yeah.
women do have more transitions that they do need to navigate along the way. Um, and I definitely do see that as well with my own husband. He hasn't had the same kind of transitions that he's had to navigate
Yeah.
as I have.
Yeah.
You're not
Which
wrong.
I think has created some more power for the women that are having this ability. It's a tougher go, I think, at a time, but it's created this better ability to deal with those transitions, which is why I think I see a tilt towards the retirement coaches of the world are mainly female. Say they've done it before. They know how to get you through it. I think it's good.
Yeah, well, there are still a few men doing the
Yeah.
retirement coaching as well, but yeah, certainly you want to go where someone's got some experience with it, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, speaking of that experience, what prompted you to become a retirement coach?
Um, my mom. My mom retired at age 55.
Hmm.
She was a primary school teacher. Um, and goodness, I can tell you that is who she is. If you
Right? Yeah.
want to talk about people really identifying with their career,
Hmm.
my mom is a primary school teacher, right through and through. Um, Amazing with kids. And she retired at a time when things were changing at work. Um, a lot more problem kids coming into the classroom, not getting the support from administration, um, and then also having to start to navigate the online world with online report cards. And it just really felt like too much for her. So she decided to retire in the hopes of she was retiring to get away from the harder parts of it. But she didn't make a plan for how she was going to replace those things. And instead she was, waiting for the time when my dad could have some time. Um, he continued working, but now that she's not a teacher, she can take vacations and go on trips with him and go on work trips. And she was excited to have that freedom, but she never really planned anything for herself. And it didn't take long before we started to realize that it really took a toll on her because she didn't make a plan for replacing those things in work. And she found herself getting out less and drinking more and without any real vision for her future. My mom currently has advanced dementia and has not, I really do believe that had she taken a more active role in finally planning for herself in retirement, because she didn't do that, the things that she did in retirement were helping others, helping her mother, helping her aunt, helping me with my kids, which was fantastic and temporarily fulfilling for her, I think. But she didn't fill it in otherwise. And so, my hope is that, well, it's unfortunately too late for my mother. But if I can help others to avoid that same fate, I know that it's helped me with my multiple retirements.
Right.
I now have a very optimistic, bright vision for my future and my retirement, that, nothing's going to take away from me.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And I imagine your mom got a lot of fulfillment out of helping others, but I feel as if there's a bit of a warning in the story you shared that if you are a helper person, a helping profession, like, nurse and teacher probably just come straight to mind of
Mm-hmm.
if you're always giving out, you're not quite getting back in enough to eventually give out more. If you are the person that wants to give out
Exactly.
more, you've got to get back in and take some time on your own. And it seems as if she didn't get that internal, how do I build myself up?
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
weighed a lot on you.
Yeah. Retirement's a great time to be selfish. It really is. It is the time when it's time to be
Mm-hmm.
selfish, and it's okay. You don't need to live for your
Sure.
boss and for your work and for your clients, and your
Mm-hmm.
kids are grown and flown, and, other than your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
who should ideally be rooting for you as well.
Yes.
Now's the time when, you're unencumbered. You break free from the shackles. You've got some financial independence.
Yep.
What do you want to do for you?
Yeah.
And that's the best question I love to ask, because when we start, most people don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah.
And so now's the time to find something new just for you. And where do you want to go with it? The world is your oyster. And, it can be really exciting to peel back the onion to find the answers to that question.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I can tell you put some thought in it. So I'm curious, what does retirement look like for you?
Mine's evolving.
Mm-hmm.
I think answering the questions can be hard.
Yes. It's easier to ask
And
them.
oh, most definitely. I'm one of those people who, you read a book, I love self-help books.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the end of the chapter and you see all the questions, right? Oh, wow, great question. And you flip and you just go on to the
Yep.
next chapter.
Sure.
So, I'm still going back to answer some of those questions, and slowly trying to figure it out. I do feel like this, retirement coaching is something that I can bring forward with me. It gives me a sense of accomplishment and a feeling of, um, doing well by helping other people. And that helps to fill my bucket. It also gives me opportunities to make new friends, to reach out and connect with people and find some other really interesting and exciting new ideas of things that I would like to try. I can't wait until it's time for my trip to South America and around Antarctica. And it pushes me as well to, be better at my diet and my exercise. And, I do not pretend to be, the perfect model of what a retiree should be, but, I'm working on it. And I think that's the best that any one of us can be, is say, I have a vision of myself 80, 90, 100 of still being active and able. Um, if I find I'm struggling to get up from a cross-legged position down on the floor, instead of avoiding getting down on the floor, I'm going to do it more often and make sure that that's something that I can still do so that I can be down on the floor with my grandkids and playing with them, because that's important to me. So, always, always growing, always improving, always getting better and pushing myself just a little bit every day. And I think that's really kind of the main guidance and that I try to give to retirees is, you know what, there's so many areas for improvement. You're not going to tackle them all in a week, a month, even a year. So together we plan out a vision for what does it look like? What do you want your retirement to look like? What do you want to physically be able to do? What do you mentally want to be able to engage in? Who are the people you want to spend time with? Where are you going to get that feeling of accomplishment and like you're contributing to the world? And once we figure that out, That's our long-term vision. But today we take baby steps, tiny little steps. Well, maybe not every day. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
has bad days, and I may or may not have just eaten a very large slice of birthday cake. I know I shouldn't have, but that's what it's gradual improvement. And I won't eat that birthday cake for the next, day to month.
Yeah.
But it's all about gradual improvement. And overall, I'm better than I was yesterday. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the inspiration that I try to give to my retirees.
Well, that's great. And everything you said there has nothing to do with the job title. And so when you perhaps shed that
Nothing.
job title, then what you've identified as who you are uh, shouldn't be changed. You didn't say I'm a business owner. You said I'm doing these things, and you can do those things whether you're a business owner or not, which is great to see.
Yeah, I guess a bit of a tangent, but I get excited, so forgive me.
That's great.
Um, we look at, I love looking with retirees at the skills you have acquired over your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's take you as a financial advisor. Analytical perhaps, really enjoy looking at numbers. When the day comes when you're finally going to walk away from your financial advisory position, what are the skills that, one, you're really good at, and two, you really enjoy doing?
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a look at those. And, there might be the skills that you're really good at, but it's always felt like a chore. I don't
Right.
want to do that anymore, or maybe the skills I'm not as good at, but I want to get better at because I really enjoy doing it. Those are the skills and the assets that you had that you've spent a lifetime building. And just because you've walked away from work doesn't mean that we leave them behind. Those are a part of you. So let's dig them out, shine them off, and find new places to apply them. Because when you can do that, that's when you're going to find real fulfillment and joy, by taking the skills and the assets and all those things that you've learned and then sharing them with the world. That's what's going to give you immense amounts of fulfillment and a rewarding experience.
Yeah, definitely. Well, appreciate you sharing that. I've got one more question for you, Susan.
Yeah.
But before that, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Hop onto my website, www.inspiredretirement.ca, because I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Canada. You can follow the website. Down at the bottom, there are links to my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my Instagram, or just join my email list, and then we'll be able to stay in touch.
Excellent. And we'll put links to that in the show notes in the description and all that. Final question for you, Susan. Tell us something about yourself that few people know about. And remember, this podcast is ready to clean.
Well, we talked a little bit about my background, being in having a background in science and genetics, and then even my MBA was focused on science and technology. So I can honestly tell you that never in a million years would I have ever expected myself to be a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
I had a vision that is, really kind of frou-frou and spiritual and, loosey-goosey. But now that I'm here, people need to know that it's not just about this. Spirituality can be a very important part of it,
Mm-hmm.
if that's part of who you are. But for those who aren't, there's a lot of science behind us. There's a lot of positive psychology. There's a lot of longevity research. And
Mm-hmm.
when you put it all together, I find it so exciting to be able to take the scientific and analytical background and wanting to understand how things work, and then being able to take that knowledge and apply it to life using the life coach model is
Mm-hmm.
something that I never in a million years expected to be doing myself.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you're doing it. And thanks for coming on and sharing your wisdom about the social fitness side of retirement.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. And thank you for listening to the Retirement Reveal podcast. We believe if you know more about your money, you'll feel better about your money and make better money decisions. Hi, I'm Jeremy Keil, owner of Keil Financial Partners. And if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients get more income, pay less in taxes, and avoid big retirement mistakes, make sure to go to keilfp.com. That's KEILFP.com.